All right, hello everyone. I'm gonna proceed. Let me. So I'm just getting set up a bit. Day 2. So this is not the beginning of the development stream, day 2. But it's like, hello everyone. I already was streaming earlier today, and apparently the audio was completely broken for I think the entirety of the stream, which is bad. But I've been kind of having a good time streaming, and yeah, I've been having a good time streaming, and things have been working, so I thought let's just continue here and try to do like a bit more work at least for today. So yeah, that's my plan. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm ready to like show my screen. So what happened in this wonderful stream that nobody saw or like nobody heard because the audio was broken? I looked into the issues that we were seeing on the first stream in terms of the data on the signing side and verification side being different, so the data that gets signed. And I figured that, well, with these large differences that we were seeing, the most likely cause was that there's actually a mismatch between the test data that's on the that's for the test data for the verification side and the test data for the signing side. So we're actually looking at two different derivations, and I was able on stream, but like not in a way that was visible to anybody, to confirm that suspicion by, and part of it I also did before the stream, but I changed the way that I generate this test data, because I'm not using flakes in as part of the build command anymore, but I'm instead using the -f option to just access some attribute of Nix packages, and that way I can pass a config with content address set to content address set by default equals true, which is much easier to configure than what I was trying to do with flakes. And this meant that on the like as part of my flake file, I have an attribute that generates this reference data on the verification side, which was broken, and by updating this, I was able to bring the signing and the verification side in line, and now verification works like I can get through much more of the verification process, and I'm stuck on something different now. So we can look at this by saying, like this Nix run command here that I have. Oh, I'm in front of this. Things you have to learn to consider when you're streaming. Okay, let's move it over here. Also, I have, I think, a button for this. I built a button for this when I built this setup a few years ago for the pandemic. yeah, I can run this attribute and output the result to this file that goes in as test data on the verification side, so that the tests, like the unit tests in Python, don't actually call nix derivation show. They just think they do, and actually they get fed from this reference data. And I've already committed this. This is in here. Like there's a, right? Is it? Yeah, it's the thing that's, it has the large diff, right? Diff too big to render. All right. So we don't have to actually look into that. But with that in place, if we run the test that was failing yesterday, was it failing? Like it wasn't failing, but it was printing a diff. It was printing a diff that we were looking at in diffoscope, that was telling us, hey, what we get in from the verification side and from the signing side actually doesn't match up. And yeah, this is not the case anymore. Now we are actually able to like resolve a bunch of derivations. And even if we run the large version of this test, which actually tries to verify the hello binary, and I'm gonna pipe this into less, because otherwise I'm gonna pipe this into less, because otherwise the output will be cut off by the terminal, because it is so long. Let's see. Like we see in here a lot of things that actually resolve now. These are the resolutions we get. Like build tool resolves to this, bootstrap stage 0 whatever resolves to this, new config whatever resolves to this. So we have like I think 17 or 18 things that are resolving correctly, while we only even have like 15 things in our test data on the signing side, which means we're at a point now where the other bug, like we have apparently solved the issue we had with verification in terms of like this difference. We resolved that, and now we are running into this issue. Yeah, figure out why running the VM test does not upload more traces for large packages. And like I made some progress on this already, and like we now run into this. Something in the post build hook fails during upload, which I still need to debug this. This is still the case. Yeah, and since the post build hook fails, the build fails, and we're not uploading any more stuff after that one step that fails. And this is now what we have to look into, because we basically solved the other thing, which is great, and is one of the like I wanted to be on stream for this kind of stuff because I thought it's fun to share the experience of actually fixing things. Yeah. Hopefully people can hear me. If you have any questions, just post them on in the Twitch chat. I will also monitor the laut channel. Wait, let me show this properly. Where did I wanna? I will also monitor this, and maybe I should close that Twitch thing because I usually don't want to open that. I will also monitor this matrix channel. Like not that regularly because it's not on stream. Twitch chat should even show up on stream, right? But yeah, we will see. So this is fixed now. And I already pushed that change. And now we have to address the other issue that we have with our test data, which is great. We're making progress. So how do we do that? I have kind of something in progress there, but it's still, let me think. So somewhere here there's a terminal. Yeah, this. So even before the stream, I was already looking into updating this test data, and you can do that on two sides. You can update the verification side, which you can now do with this nix run command that I just showed. You could do that earlier also, but it was like a bit broken for some time. This is fixed now. And updating the verification, like updating the signing side, is a bit more difficult. I gotta sneeze. Maybe I don't. And for this we need to run the VM tests, and I already started running the VMs, started running those tests, but that was based on an earlier state of the repository, and I think it makes sense to rerun this now because I don't want to deal with any discrepancies that might have happened. So we're gonna exit those here, and we're gonna just build the test driver. And we'll try to run into that issue. Actually, what we can do in the meantime is we can go to the laut issue page, and like the difference between builders of resolved unresolved, like this commit basically resolves that. So we go in here. This was resolved by so the reason why this difference showed up at all was because the reason why this showed up was because the derivations that we were looking at on the signing and verification side were different derivations. And naturally then you have strange unexpected differences. So we're going to close this issue because it's resolved, and that's great. And we're building the tests now. If we get much further, if we manage to resolve this issue, I'll probably SSH into a beefier machine and run the VM tests there, because in order to actually build the hello derivation, if we actually manage to get a signature for each of the steps that are required for that, that's about 160 steps. And like my notebook is a bit old and sick. Like it's a P50, it's fine, but it doesn't have enough RAM for what I'm doing, actually, I think. And yeah, it's gonna take a long time to build all that stuff. But I feel like for just looking at the issue and like, because this fails after 15 build steps, and we can get that far. And it won't take too much time, I think. So we just built the interactive tests, and now we're starting them by invoking the test script. And then this will take some time. And strangely, one thing that happened here is it seems like the time between the cache being done with what it's doing and the builders starting up and starting to fill the cache has significantly increased. And I don't know why that is, but it's a bit of an issue. And in effect, like what we see on the GitHub action side is like the check action fails. And I'm not sure if it runs out of time or... Oh, no space left on device. I wasn't aware of that. Huh, I didn't see that. Cool, because if I look at this here, like I used to have a good, like when I looked at this on stream, I actually saw the log of the build. Now the log of the build is gone, but I hadn't realized that this is what's happening. So probably I have to address this somehow. And then the test will pass again. Because this is just running, like building all the packages that are in my flake and running all the checks. So basically running NixFlake check or something like that. Equivalent. And this works locally. But if it runs out of space, I get that that's an issue, right? Also, as we are building those tests, we can see that there's one change that I didn't commit. And that's like usually for the regular test run, I don't want to build a hello derivation because it takes too much time. Because we have those 160 steps. But for actually generating the test data, which for the unit tests, which is kind of the primary thing I'm doing with the test right now, I want to build a hello derivation. Because actually, I think this minimal thing, we might actually be able to resolve this already. So, yay, we got so far already, I think. So maybe we can also start implement like uncommenting more of the VM tests soon. And actually making that work without any like test instrumentation. Just really getting the signatures from the network. But this is not what I want to focus on today or right now. Now I just want to look into where we get stuck with generating signatures. Like, is it accurate what's in this issue that one of the breakpoint hooks, one of the post build hooks just fails, and that fails the build, and that's why we only upload 15 signatures and not 160. We should be able to observe that now. The builder is starting now. I don't know why there was such a big delay between before starting the builder. But the builder is running now. It's fetching things. So this just takes some time. I also finally managed to take a look at the pull request by Serge here. Like we were working on this at like still at Ocean Sprint. Like the official event was over, but me and Serge were like sitting together, and he helped me figure out things about like this helped me figure out that not everything in, like I tried to make a content Nix that is configured to be completely content addressed, and I messed it up somewhere, and we were looking into that. He made me realize that this is what I messed up, and wrote some code in that process, and this is that code, and I really want to take some of it, but I'm not sure how to take some specific bits, or if I should even take them. So that's why this is still open, and I felt like I should just comment on it, because in the README I'm saying, hey, I'm reacting to people, trying to react to people within a week, so I should keep up with those things. Because I don't think Serge is really waiting for this, but I should, like, I wanted to react. And thank you so much to him for helping me with these things. With this and the setup of the integration tests on here. This is great. And while I'm at it, maybe I could also say thank you to the dog food who came by and fixed like a lot of typos. This was wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was really happy about that. This was very early on during Ocean Sprint, when I, like a few days after I put this online, this repository. And right now with verification going much further now, like making much more progress, we were able to confirm that the way we're handling placeholders seems to be working. And so I think we can close this. Like, I'm pretty sure we can close this. But I still want to, like, maybe should we just close it? So we're probably stuck on that. Yeah, I mean, we can, this is still the commit hash from before. I think we managed to implement, or I think this is not specifically placeholders. This is just, I think it's called upstream placeholders or something. Let's take another look at this. Upstream, yeah, let's call it upstream placeholders, or upstream or downstream. The naming is a bit ambiguous. What's it? Downstream placeholders. Google Nix downstream placeholders. Okay, downstream placeholder, upstream placeholder. Okay, it's called a downstream placeholder, but in the implementation here, like in this independent implementation, the magical words in here are upstream. So it's a bit ambiguous. We are to, I think we are handling, I'm not good with typing or that kind of stuff. We are handling downstream I don't know if I should call it downstream or upstream. Downstream placeholders correctly now. So let's close this. I think I'm able to confirm this in that commit. Because we end up with the correct thing. If the tests take, like if this takes more time, how far are we here? Yeah, this is still building, so should I run the tests and try to illustrate that? Let's see, let's run the small test here. And somewhere we should have a temporary directory, I guess. Is this not printed? That would be unfortunate. If I run the tests from here, I think I can just change the launch options here, only launch that one test, and then in the verification code I'm gonna put a breakpoint just where we are collecting all of the results. All right, and here we have like a temporary directory now. Copy the value of that. Should we open a new terminal? Let's just use this one. We're going to this temporary directory, and here we have a debug folder. Oh, it doesn't have any files. What am I doing wrong here? Are we really early on in this? Oh yeah, I should set the breakpoint much later. Let's see. Yeah, we got things now. So we have like 4 derivations in here now. Let's look at the Bootstrap tools one. And there's a few files in here. There's one for the unresolved derivation. There's one for what we arrive at locally by taking the unresolved derivation and resolving all of the .drv inputs. All of the derivation inputs to input sources. And then there's one which we get as debug data from the signing side. We just added that to the signatures as additional debug data for now, which is something that the signature format allows for. Doesn't mean you should do that in production, but you can do it to figure out mistakes you're making with your hashing schemes. So we're gonna use diffoscope to look at what dependency resolution looks like on the comparison between the unsigned derivation as like this is what we think on the verification side, but now it matches the signing side correctly. So the unsigned derivation, we can pretend it's the thing that the signing side sees, and how it actually resolves how things are actually resolved. And we see, okay, we have 2 input derivations and they manifest as 2 additional input sources. And one of them is placed before the unpacked bootstrap stuff and one of them is placed afterwards. So all 3 lines change. And like the resolution on the actual signing side, which is what we're actually doing, should look the same. Yes, it does. And we can also confirm that by looking at the resolved thing from the signing side versus the resolved thing from the... Okay, now there's differences, but these are format specific differences because I haven't taken the care yet to preserve all of the spacing in those JSON values, because I just treat them as JSON for now, so this is not a valid report actually. So my bad, because we're not dealing just with JSON here. In reality, we're dealing with JSON that's canonicalized into some specific formatting, and like the tooling that displays this diff isn't as strict yet to pick up on that, and that's why we see bitwise differences here. And those differences are, we have a space here and we don't have one here, so they are like significant differences, but the JSON contents are the same. And so that's why it says no file-specific differences were detected. So JSON was parsed on the JSON level. This is the same thing. We just have to improve our tooling a bit to actually pass on the data more correctly. So this works now. This is what I wanted to show you. I think in the meantime, we were able to run the VM test as far as it goes. So let's continue there. Before I do that, let's quickly check. Am I missing something? No, everything looks fine. I think audio is working now, so that's good. All right, and I think there's also not really anything going on in the laut channel on matrix. No, good. Then let's continue here. So we're building this, and we're building this, and then copy to cache, which is, I think, this is the hook that we're creating, right? Let's see, it's probably even called that. We can terminate this now. If we look at the VM tests, copy to cache, yes, this fails. And it fails for what exactly? It fails for auto tools, new config script hook. And like the result of this is that if we look at, we have to probably reload this to get like a valid answer here. If we look at our binary cache, and we look at the traces folder, which is the folder with our signatures, this only has like 15 things, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like whatever. It's around 15, I think. And it should be like 150 if we actually run all the way through and successfully build the hello derivation. So the reason why this stops is because when we're building this copy to cache thing fails, and then we stop building at that point. So we have to figure out what's going wrong here. And the first step to do that, which is something I already did, but I didn't look into the outcome yet. We log into the builder. Yeah, maybe this is too small, this font. How do I handle that? I can zoom in here a bit for now. So we get so what happens as part of the script is it writes kind of a log of what happens during its execution to the /root directory, so we can take a look at that. And the thing that's failing is update auto tools new conf script hook. So one of the two things that are called that are in here. So we want to look at hook log 6 GDN or 8 GNY. Which one is the one that's failing? It's, yeah, I wouldn't bet on it, and we can't tell from this. So let's just look at both. Like this screen is now too large. Can we just resize this whole window, or is it that doesn't work, right? How can we handle this better? Zoom to fit. I don't know. Does this mean I can resize it now? Yeah, in theory I would have to set a much smaller resolution for this machine, so this works well on stream, I think. So we're interested in this 6GN o'clock 6GN file. Okay, this is the unresolved derivation, so it shouldn't do anything. Not sure if this is the one that's failing yet, but I guess not. And then we have, like, in contrast, hook log 8 something, right? 8 GN using default credential chain. And this is the last thing we have in the log. Control Alt plus, like Control Alt plus. So using default credential chain is the last thing we see in the log. Let's look at some other derivation. Bootstrap. Oh yeah, I just need to go by hash, right? JP or something. Using default. Okay, so it looks the same. So we can't see from here why this is failing. Let's make this smaller again. Oh, this looks weird. Maybe we can identify something in the log of the in the log of the cache, actually. So journal control, some unit, right? And min.io is the service. But there's not really anything happening here. Okay. So what do we do now? Is there like another indication of what's going wrong potentially? It was this, what is it that we're looking at? GNU config scripts hook. I'm wondering if this is one of the things. Tests, cd tests, data, no, traces. So I have this script that takes the signatures from min.io, takes these signatures, like I select them all and I push the download button, I download this directory, unzip it, and put it in one of those folders called run and some number. And then I run this consolidate.py script on the resulting data and call the output directory out5. And I've also added an out5r directory because this, and then the one with the R, like you can index the resulting JSON file by make the resulting JSON file indexed by different keys, and if the key field is the derivation name, this is the data that I put into the folder suffixed with R, and this means that there can be some collisions in there if different derivations have the same name, and like there's an override switch that says, yeah, this is fine, allow duplicate keys, and this is what I'm using to generate the data, and that way when there's duplicates in this JSON, we don't get key attribute, we get key list of attributes. Or structure, or whatever you want to call this, and that way we can have this in the format, these ambiguities, but there shouldn't be too many of them, which is why per default we're saying, hey, there's duplicate stuff in here, because like if we're diffing against the wrong thing, it makes the diffs less useful, right? In case of errors that we're trying to debug. So in those cases, we try to show both diffs, but I haven't run into that yet. All right. So what do we do now? So we haven't figured it out from this output using default credential chain. Like, I don't know what's going wrong here. Let's look at the builder one more time. I think the builder is like in a bit of a strange state in terms of scaling, right? But this has like, so the issue is this update auto tools, and like most derivations in here are listed twice. Basically all of them should be, because one time we're doing nothing because we just have the unresolved derivation, and one time we're actually proceeding. And here we're actually proceeding and we don't see any error, but still the script fails, and we don't actually see where it fails. So what can we do? Are we able to just rerun it, maybe? Running, like I think it's showing us the command line arguments here, so we should be able to rerun it. But like this window is totally borked, or whatever you say for broken. Can I? Oh, now I got it. I was able to fix it, I think. So there's some arguments that go into the wrapper, and the arguments for the actual invocation were --debug, sign, and upload, and then derivation and the secret key file and where we want to upload to. So if we try to run that again, it should fail again. We should also be, theoretically we should be able to do this locally, because it shouldn't care where this call comes from, I think. Oh no, but we need the credentials. So that's maybe, how can we recover this? How can we do this in a way that's not tedious? I'm thinking we could use the console in here to rerun that command. Or we could just do it here. Probably the console is better, but then we have to, like, okay, this path I can figure out. Laut, debug, yeah, I'm gonna manage this. Try to do this on the console, because that way we can write it down and try to reproduce it independently somehow. We could write a test for that as well. Oh no, but it depends on the cache. We don't know, or at least we don't know that. So one of the things that I think I've figured out is, I think maybe what we're trying to upload here has an input hash that the cache already knows about, and so it's kind of a duplicate entry that way. But I don't know that. I think I remember coming to that conclusion somehow, or having that idea previously. Builder.succeed, and we're gonna try laut debug, right? Sign and upload, and then we need the derivation, I think. Laut debug, sign and upload, and we need, yeah, Nixstore JPVKA. This is something we should find somewhere else. JPVKA. All right, Nixstore should be that. What else? JPVKA, bootstrap, bin utils wrapper. All right. Yeah, the secret key file, and then the two path we can also find. Like, we should be able to find this in the test, actually. In the VM test. Sign and upload. Okay, yeah. Store URL. Oh, and it has the port, but we can insert the correct port. Should be fine. Oh no, did I not copy that correctly? Let's copy this. Okay, I think we have the correct command now, and this should fail. Bad substitution. Oh yeah. 9,000 and is it just 9,000? Cache port. Yeah, it's 9,000. Finished. Must succeed. This looks like it succeeded. And the hash of the thing was free UG whatever. So we can see if we have that in here. Yes, but we just uploaded it. So there's a question of, was this here before or not? One way to figure that out is to look at the... it added another signature because it's approximately twice the size, I think. So even this, like the signature upload succeeds. Yeah, let's download this because I know the preview is not working. And then, like, I can show you how to look at this signature. Like, I think, let's see, how similar are those? Like, the header is the same. The payload is not the same. The signature is also not the same. Maybe we should even diff this. But let's look at the failing one. The payload of the failing signature. And we're going to use CyberChef for that. I don't think I've showed this on the stream that didn't have any audio. This is a tool that you can use to, like, it's by the British Intelligence Service, GCHQ. And you can use it to manipulate binary data and view binary data in different formats, very conveniently put together those pipelines that manipulate it. And then you also have like a speaking URL that denotes the recipe and input, so you can send this URL to someone and they can basically have what you did. While at the same time, since this is just an anchor, the actual people hosting this shouldn't be able to, like, shouldn't have access to your contents. But you can also host this tool yourself if you're worried about the British Intelligence Service. All right, what do we have here? We have input, output. This looks short. Is there something going wrong here? Did we copy everything out? Yeah. Okay. Fine. I want to actually know what the differences between those two signatures are. I would guess that there's none, but we should confirm. And let's see. So we'll take the second one, the payload of the second one. Oh no, first I wanted to take this, put it in this window here, and then we'll copy the payload of the second one instead. And yeah, this is much shorter. I get it, because a bunch of the variables that are relevant for this are on path. Sorry, not on path, but they're coming from environment variables, and apparently we're not really testing that well. So let's look at the differences here. Yeah, the path is missing because that's not set, and the hash is missing because that's also, where does that come from? I don't know, but the method shouldn't be like the upload parts shouldn't be that forgiving. We should be failing on these kind of inputs. But we saw that upload works. But now the question becomes, why does upload work, but then the hook fails? What could be going on here? Because on the command line this succeeded. Is there something in those parameters that maybe would need to be escaped? Like something unusual. There's Okay, we have an output path in here. Now there's another question, and that question is it the hook that's failing, or is the application failing? So basically, when we look at this test and we have the contents of this post build hook, does this call succeed or fail? And it would be the last thing. So if this succeeds, we should go through the script like we should return with a success case, right? Save derivation name. Maybe like this looks like nonsense. Oh no, maybe this was required. But it could be something that's problematic somehow. I don't recall. Can we see in the log, like in this hook log, why this is failing? It's called hook log JPVK whatever. I think we should be able to get that. Yeah, we got that already. And what does the path end with? Yeah, .drv, fine. So I'm just gonna copy this file name here. And what I'm gonna do is we're gonna copy this file so we can take a closer look. Builder a.succeed, and no, that's not what I want to do. Like copy from VM, and then I think I just have to give it the fully qualified path to this thing. Root hooklog dash. I think this succeeded, and we should have a file like that now here. Yes. And I can look up those flags to figure out if there's any indication which command failed here and why. But I will not do that live because I'm not that familiar with Bash. What I can do is take this and post it, like create an issue. Oh no, we got an issue. We got a relevant issue. Figure out why. I have a button for this saying hide HDMI. Wonderful. Does this work? Yes, great. So since this is working, I can now like pick files. In a more private setting. Documents. Git. Trace signature. we can show that again. This hook log thing. Oh, you're not allowed to upload DRV files. Oh, come on. What do we do? That's rough. So I added a .log to the name. I hope it's happy now. Yeah. Okay. This is the log of. Should be the log of the problematic derivation. But thinking about this, is that actually the case? Because maybe the thing that it's failing on is the next one. It depends on how we are actually supposed to interpret this log, right? Like not this, but this. Because maybe this still succeeded, and then the next one is what fails. And I don't even know if we have any log for that, right? Or maybe it's actually the operation after. I really can't tell confidently. What would be the next thing that might be failing? We can look at the output of ls again. See, we have a bunch of files. We can see, are there any anomalies in the sizes? Like maybe we should switch to Lix, and I think Lix has a feature for logging what's going on in breakpoint, what's going on in post build hooks. And maybe that log output is more useful than what we're building ourselves here. The other thing I could do is I could just copy the whole root folder. Maybe that's a good thing to do. Yeah, let's do that. Because then we have more information out of this test run. There should absolutely not be any like private information in there. Did this work? Yes, we have a root folder here. It's full of stuff. I shouldn't have to be critical about what's in here. But I'm gonna zip this. Oh, I can just do this on the command line, right? But I think I got everything that I wanted out of this test. We're not going to proceed here. And zip tldr zip. R should be recursive, right? Or is it replace? It's a big R. Yeah, okay. So for example, zip R and root. The archive is going to be root.zip. Man, this shouldn't be difficult. What's going on? This wasn't what I meant to do. Yeah, but I think I don't need to do this on stream. I'm gonna zip this folder. I'm gonna upload it as part of that issue, and then the question will be, let's look through that data, figure out if this one operation is what is failing, or if it's what happens afterwards, and then try to find what's going wrong, so we can validate the hello derivation. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Yeah, have a nice day. I'm gonna put updates for tomorrow's stream at some point. Can still, yeah. Bye. Thank you, everyone.